Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of the Section 214 podcast. And week 6 of the CFL, our BC Lions won today 35-20 with our guy Vernon Adams with a pretty convincing 450 yards as we move on to 5-1. I'm Hammer. I'm trying the intro today for the first time with my two great co-hosts, Ascent and Jacob. I'm back. I wasn't here last week. I was in Seattle for a week. I was watching my Blue Jays play the Mariners all 3 games. And for a change, unlike the last 2 years, we actually won some games. The Jays won 2 nail-biter games, and they lost a third game to take the 2 game.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, they were all one-run games, and in Blue Jay fashion, they almost blew 2 of them.
I mean,
Me and
I say
Jacob, no.
unfortunately because of the Orioles fandom for me. They're not doing very good either, but yeah, keep
No.
going.
Yeah, the Blue Jays are having a tough season. They're kind of tough to watch. Um, Good to see you, Jacob. We were both at the game today. You took the ferry over yesterday. I saw
Yeah.
you both before the game and at halftime, and we had some pretty good thoughts. Some mostly positive thoughts, because it got a bit scrappy at the end of the fourth quarter. But an overall good game for the Lions today. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, good to see you as well. Haven't seen you in I don't even know how long it was. And it was
Maybe
my
Probably a
4 or 5 months.
year.
Yeah.
something like that, yeah.
Less than a year, yeah.
And it was my first in-person game of the season, so I was excited to be there. I was sitting in the upper bowl for the first time in at BC Place in probably 9, 10 years, something like that. It was a little bit harder for me to see because the players are so much further away. I felt like I was squinting a little bit to see what
They
was
look
going
like
on.
ants on a field. Yeah, I know. I've
Pretty
been
much, yeah. Otherwise, I thought
yeah,
the
I went to a Buccaneers NFL game where I was at the similar kind of height where yeah, it was it was I mean it was years ago, but I was
Buccaneers game, crazy.
yeah.
well, there you go. And yeah, I thought the experience was good. The only real complaint I had is that in the upper level concession stands, there is no fountain pop, only bottle pop. So if
Well,
you're
you got to
listening to
bring your own.
Mardoman, get fountain pop in the upper levels.
I was in my normal section 213, my season ticket seats. There was a lot of Rider fans. They were in bunches, and I saw on Ticketmaster they separated a few sections of seats for Riders fans only, and they were loud when the Riders scored, but pretty quiet elsewhere. Lions fans were loud
Good.
all game, and I'm in a pretty loud section 213. Some of the big plays, Aberhard's 55-yard catch, and some of the touchdowns, they were really loud. It was a hot game, a really sweaty game for both reasons. It was 27 degrees or
Yeah, and
something.
we'll get into how that heat I think affected a lot of the injuries in this game too. Right?
Yeah.
And you'll notice in the title it's called War of Attrition for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah,
um.
sweaty for 2 reasons.
Yeah.
The heat, and also it was a pretty close game.
Yeah. I mean, even here, my fan blowing. I mean, I was sweating pretty bad
Mm.
watching the game too. But again, I was mostly due to being nervous about the middle of the game, right around the middle of the game. But yeah, no, yeah, really no better here. But I mean, yeah, it's just, uh, I'm glad you two had a lot of fun at the game, and I mean, of course, got a picture of you two
Yeah,
as well in the group chat. We'll make that a tradition. Just
we'll do.
anytime
Absolutely.
that we see each other in person in a game, right?
One
Same
more
Absolutely.
with the
thing, pretty cool that they opened the upper bowl because you were up there. They had a
I
really good
was.
crowd today. I would say around 30,000 people. I didn't see the
I don't know
announced
the exact
attendance
number.
yet.
It was pretty good, so not going to complain about that at all.
Yeah. Also, if Mordoman wanted to invest in the stadium a bit, I know it's already built, so it would be hard to add a few things on, but we do love our wheelchair users, first of all, but maybe add a few
right.
staircases in. It's pretty hard to run up the ramp each way because I was going up to the upper bowl to meet you, Jacob, at halftime. Pretty spacious up there, no, not as crowded as the lower bowl. So
Yeah.
I waited
Yeah, and
15
then
minutes in line for water in the first quarter,
Wow.
but nothing in the upper deck.
There you go.
yeah, I mean, well, I mean, bathroom waits are pretty bad too, right? They tend to be pretty bad, at least my experience. Just,
Oh yeah,
I mean,
night and day, upper and lower.
yeah, 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 I was also gonna say, I guess before we get into, I mean, if you're done with your intros and talking about your game experiences, and I guess we'll say that, um, before we move on to the gut check, we'll say that we've had a pretty big, we had a pretty big thing happening,
Oh
just a
yeah.
couple days ago. we just want to thank the official BC Lions YouTube channel for subscribing to us.
We love you
Which
Thank you.
guys.
It means a lot to have your support. Very excited
Yeah.
to
Which
hopefully have you as regular viewers.
I didn't think it would happen until at least September, right? Like that, for this to happen a month in is insane, right? I'm so happy that's happened, right? So I mean, hey, just we just want to give you our thanks, and yeah, I guess we can get into the gut check portion of the game. I mean, it's two teams, one of them's undefeated and the other's only had the one loss. So, I mean, this is a really big marquee game for the CFL, I'd say. And I mean,
Definitely
it
the
pretty
game of
much
the week.
delivered.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It delivered unquestionably. It was a stressful game right until the end.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was
Yeah, stressful
definitely
game that, we
sweating a
led
lot.
the entire time, right? I mean, we never
Never
once
trailed.
relinquished the lead, right? It was, I mean, there were certainly moments in the game where it was, it was pretty unstable, but I mean, I'm glad that, we've had, I'd say, 3 wins now where BC um, has had the lead for times, and then it kind of feels like they're going through a mini collapse, but then near the end of the fourth quarter, they kind of iced the game with a long drive or extra points to seal it, right? And just to stop all talk of a comeback happening, right? Yeah, I was happy that, that there was some moments in that game, but I mean, again, this is,
I feel like the
yeah.
Lions played well, but there's still another gear that they can play at. If you liked
I do
field
too.
goals, this was the game for
Mhm.
you. Mr. Automatic Sean White with 7 of them. I was
Yeah.
talking, I think early in the fourth quarter, it was 22-20, and we had 5 straight scoring plays that were field goals. And sure, that's good, but like we need some touchdowns. Like
Oh,
we weren't adding on to the lead very much. And then Saskatchewan, while their offense wasn't too good, they were really closing in. So it was nice to get that one to make it 29-20, and then
Yeah,
tack
I
on a
was
few more at the
worried
end.
that Patterson, I mean, he was Shea Patterson, he was actually a former BC Lion, like he was a backup quarterback on the practice roster kind of stuff, right? I mean, and of course the TSN commentary were always saying that there's always those kind of players that are motivated to beat their team that didn't think they were worth it, right? I mean, Patterson had an okay game. I mean, he didn't he didn't have the numbers that Vernon Adams put up, but I mean, like I mean, he did what he could to just keep the game, tight, and just I felt like Saskatchewan played like an okay game, but I think I'm glad they didn't capitalize on just again with certain moments where it just felt like the lead was going to be unstable for a bit, but yeah, they just never took advantage of it. But it's just yeah,
We'll talk about this in a moment in statistics, but I feel like both teams' ways of offense were a bit reversed. BC Lions played really well in the passing game. Vernon Adams, 450. I mean, we know he played outstanding today. The running game, stand back, he did not have a good game.
no,
His stat line was really ugly. But for the Riders, Ouellette, he played really good.
will
He
I, yeah.
scored
yeah.
both touchdowns.
I called him. Is this going to be the sequel to Oliveira, where we have an annoying running back that can't just tackle
On
on
our
him
Western rival. Yeah, I think so.
on a
He was really
prairie rival
impressive.
for one? Just
He was really impressive, multiple long runs,
had
and he got the
long
2
ones and
touchdowns,
even a hurdle, like
which was really
hurdle.
dangerous, but it worked out
Yeah,
for them. So it was good to see. Well, no, not good to see.
A-
Good to see if you're a Riders
and
fan.
yeah, and Emilus as well. He had a few deep, catches, right? That was terrifying, and there was some terrible tackling for the defense and
Oh, yeah.
some of
Late
those
in the
catches.
game.
Uh,
Late in the game, the
man,
tackling was a bit spotty. And I think
Yep,
maybe the heat was a factor,
I'm sure it
but they'll
was.
get back to it.
yeah, I mean, I guess, well, I mean, I guess to end up the gut check, I'll just say that, we are number one in the West and number one in the league now with that win, and it's
Feels
yeah,
good. We are where
we're
we want to be.
probably gonna be number one in the power rankings too because Montreal lost finally. So
Yeah,
uh
good to be up top. You know, if this holds until the end of the season, we could potentially have 2 straight home games in the playoffs, just like we did in 2011. So fingers
Oh yeah.
crossed.
Yeah.
And we're in first place above the team we didn't expect to be above. We expected to be above Winnipeg, who are a bit deeper down in the standings, but
Just a bit.
got to keep
Just
adding on those wins just a bit.
yeah, yeah. I swear. I mean, we can have a 15 and like a 15-win season, and I'm just looking down, going, if Winnipeg's down there, please no, please.
If the season ended today, Winnipeg wouldn't even make the playoffs. So
Good. I hope.
that's
Let's
good.
hope that stays right. But
Indeed.
again, we're gonna get into a conflicting the conflicting game that the Riders will play next at the end of the show. But yeah, we'll just get into just rattling off the statistics. I mean, I mean, of course, it was just me and JS last week, but I'm oh, I'm gonna read the BC stats. So that's
It'd be a
my turn
treat
to
to
do
hear.
that. So yeah, yeah. When I saw these stats, I mean, I was I mean, I was surprised in certain aspects and not surprised in others. I mean, here's the not surprising one. Vernon Adams, 26 for 42 on for 451 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions.
He could
Yeah,
have had 500.
he could have had more than 500 yards. I mean, if he didn't, I mean, if Hollins didn't have like hands of stone on certain passes, right? But uh, and of course, I mean, yeah, the two interceptions. I was wondering when Adams was going to throw an interception, and turned out Richard was going to do it. Which,
Yeah. The second one
yeah,
wasn't really his fault. The defender just jumped in front of the pass at the last minute. It was not really his fault at all. The only real complaint I had about him was that third down short yardage play, which turned into a fake that led to a touchdown. When I saw that they were
Oh
running
yeah.
him out on third and short, I was irate because you don't put your number 1 quarterback in that situation. And I know they've done that this year, but you don't want to risk him getting injured. But in the end, it didn't turn out to be that, so that's good.
yeah, that
Oh
was
wow.
good. I mean, yeah, he did. He also did have 10.7 yards average per throw, which is really good for getting first downs constantly. I mean, that's what happened, and yeah, his longest throw was 55 yards, and then of course he also got 39 rushing yards on 4 carries, and he had more rushing yards than Stanback. Uh, in clutch situations too, like on second and long, like multiple
Before we talk
times.
about
Right?
Stanback, which yeah, that one sucked, but VA had a really good rushing game. He had at least 2 first
Yeah,
downs. The ones where he ran
I
into the
mentioned that.
corner,
Yeah,
yeah, and slid there. He did great today.
yeah, I mentioned that already. That was
And he had a touchdown
yeah,
too, I believe, didn't he?
and a touchdown run.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that 15-yard, yeah, the one, right? So,
we'll
but
count
yeah,
that as the
well.
third.
Yeah, we'll get into Stanback. I mean, he had okay games in the past, but this was his probably his worst. I mean, I mean, he's kind of taking our attention away from Williams, who had another not good game as a kick returner. But I mean, par for course for him now, right? But anyways,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, Stanback is he's at 12 carries for only 14 yards, no touchdowns, and then 1.2 average per run. And the 5-yard one was his longest.
Oh my
Then he
God.
yeah, then he had 2 catches on 5 targets for 14 yards. So I mean, not even in a screen game. I mean, there wasn't really a whole. I mean, outside of that so down crazy play. I mean, screen like passes weren't the name of the game for this one. It was all deep shots. It was a lot of deep shots and 10+ yard plays here for the offense. But yeah,
Stanback
different.
just, yeah, he lost his confidence this game, and we did too. I think in the third quarter, we realized he was going nowhere in the running game. He was running right into the pile each time and wasn't gaining any yards. So my dad was pissed. My whole section was pissed. So
The whole
that's what I can
fan
say.
base was
Yeah,
pissed. I was pissed.
I still believe in him. He had
um,
some good games right before this, but it was pretty hard to see this happen, and I wasn't expecting that.
yeah, I mean, this kind of one note, just this receiving offense dynamic is, and it works well. But I'm pretty sure, other teams are going to start to key on receiving a little bit more as the season goes along, and it'll be, you know, this kind of okay kind of rushing attack. If I don't think it's going to really do it if other teams are going to start to key on our receiving, which we'll get into here, which is the other half of the amazing offense. But not for Holland, not so much. I mean, not by his standards. He only had 5 catches on 14 targets, for 83 yards.
Could
No
have had about
touchdowns,
150.
16. Yeah, he did have a couple of incompletions that could have upped it over 100 yards, but yeah, only 83 yards, right?
Mm.
Yeah, 16.6 average, and then his longest catch was 47. He did catch, yeah, a deep bomb here and there, but yeah, I figured he could have done more. But
All the
my
best for him.
MVP for the offense today is McInnes.
Oh my.
100% pass completion rate at 14 catches on 14 targets for 243 yards and a touchdown.
McWinnis is back
And
again.
McWinnis is here. He's here to stay. And he's got a touchdown. I mean, he had 17.4 average per catch. The longest was 38. But
Just when he thought he couldn't get any better, he did. He kept making
just
catches in the fourth quarter, 20
yeah,
yards,
just
30 yards.
it felt like every time on second down, just Adams was just looking for him. And I have not felt this confident about our offense in years.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean,
And if Hollins is on his
with,
game, oh, it's going to be special.
yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, even with work, I mean, there were times where the offense was stalling a lot, right? But yeah, this game, it feels like every single game for the offense, it just you will have 100+ yards receiving and 350 yards for Adams every game, right? And yeah, McInnes was my MVP of the offense, and of course, Aberhart, our meme receiver, he's back to having only 1 catch for big yardage. So just 1 catch on 2 targets for 55 yards. I didn't even put the average there because it was just 1.
I got a couple
I,
of likes on an Instagram post when I commented. It was a common game from Eberhard. 1 catch, 55 yards. And
55 yards.
I think the 2 targets, I think he had 1 catch wiped out by flag. So he could have had quite a few more. But whatever,
Yeah.
it keeps our ideal stat line intact.
Yeah. Now it's still the majority of the game. These just seems to have just 1 catch for massive yardage once again. But yeah, Barry Hill the third, he also had an okay game too. He had 3 catches on 5 targets, 47 yards, 15.7 on average, and his longest was 27. So
Got no
yeah,
problems with him. He's been solid.
yeah. And then I put Katoya. I mean, he was a game time decision before, but yeah, he was out for the game. And then in was Kieran Poissant, which I I wasn't prepared to have him like in the stat sheet, but he had 1 catch on 2 targets for 9 yards too. But he was supposed to be the kind of replacement receiver. I mean, yeah, just the 1 catch. I imagine he'll get some more looks. I mean, assuming that I mean, Holland and McInnes are both kind of just little limpy, little injured. So I
We
do
hope.
think that Adams might start thinking about, not relying on Holland and McInnes too much, right?
Yeah. We play Calgary next week.
Yeah, Calgary. I mean, we'll get into that in the end, but yeah. So for the defense, oh shoot, I didn't. Oh, I didn't put the sacks in. I think they had
I do have
yeah 3. Oh yeah, I put 3 sacks. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, that's 3 sacks. So Rugamba Covington finally got a sack, not in garbage time this time, and one of the new guys to replace Josh Woods with Tavai. He had a sack. Um, 1 interception with Green, and then I want to say, yeah, it was a forced fumble at an important time as well from Rugamba. Yeah, Rugamba would be my defensive player of the game too. I mean, again, a sack, a fumble, or forcing a fumble, and of course, 4 tackles. Everyone else got less than 3, and of course there was a couple turnover on down. I mean, yeah, when the chips were down, the defense came to play, right? And then and then getting into the special teams. I mean, Sean White continues his insane field goal streak to 38 now. He goes 7 for 7 on field goals and 2 for 2 on extra points. And there was a couple of field goals where it was past the 50 as well, right? That was
Ooh, I was scratching my back there. I'm like, is he going to break the streak? But no, he didn't. Mr. Automatic today. If there was
no.
ever, if we didn't have such a good quarterback or wide
Yeah.
receivers, he would be our player of the game on offense.
Yeah, I mean I mean, yeah, and then we'll get into like I mean, it did get. I imagine it did get some Riders fans a little tizzy, a little angry at the end. But I mean, yeah, I just wanted to stunt on them. But yeah, and then Flintoff for punting, he only had 3 punts, averaging 48 yards. I mean, there were no rouges in this game, which I kind of wanted to see again. But yeah, yeah, all the punts that happened, they were just within 15 or 20, or at least yeah, it was within the field of play. So no, yeah. Um, and of course, unfortunately, we have to rag on Williams here again. I mean, he's
I know, like a broken
he's
record at
had
this point.
it's a broken record. I mean, come on, Matt. Come on, Rick. Just please. I don't really have much confidence in this player. I mean, it's been a few games now. I mean, he hasn't really broken a big. I mean, he did come close a couple times. I mean, he did get tripped up on one of the first kickoffs, right? I mean, I thought then he could have broken one there, but yeah, he only had 7 return catches on special teams, and then total of like 83 yards with an average of 19 for kickoffs and 9 for punt returns. So not very good. I mean, compared to Mario Alford on the other side, it was a lot better, right?
9 yards is not better than no yards.
Literally, it's
Yeah.
not. Because no
He
yards
only
is
had
15.
yeah, he had the one. He could have had 2 no yards penalties, right? I mean, he
One
had
wasn't
one,
called
but
that they would have been able to challenge had they not lost the challenge earlier.
Yeah, they
yeah,
should have had 2 New York penalties.
Yeah, but
It is what it is.
yeah. I guess well, I mean, now that I mentioned Mario Alford, I guess I can hand it over to you guys to talk about Saskatchewan.
Yeah, Jacob, I could let you start off with this.
Sure, I'll go through the offense pretty quickly. Patterson was 17 for 25 with 278 yards, 1 interception on 11.1 average yards per throw, and 14 rushing yards and 5 carries. So that's a decent game for him. Wallet from the running back had 12 carries for 72 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Oh,
That's
Annoying.
a 6 average. Yeah, it's good for him, annoying for us, and 1 catch for 7 yards. For the receivers, Bain Jr. had 2 catches for 19 yards. Schaefer Baker, 4 catches for 82 yards. His longest was 49, so pretty good play from him. Stearns had 2 catches for 9 yards, and Emilius had 8 catches.
Emilus. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Emilius. Hard to read that small print. Emilius
Yeah,
had
man, I
8
agree with
catches
you.
for 161 yards, and his longest was 51. So 2 receivers.
Yeah, he was
had big
very
plays.
McInnes, right? He was catching deep throws, and the one deep threat for
Yeah,
Saskatchewan today. But yeah.
Should I go at the defense?
go for it.
Mhm.
Please do it.
On secondary, 4 sacks. I was a little worried because later on in the game, I saw him getting sacked a bit, and I'm like, oh, are we back where we were at the beginning of the year? Because we had a couple games
no.
where VA was immune to sacks. 2 for Liner, 1 for Revis, and 1 for Micah Johnson, and 2 interceptions, Williams and Milligan. Yeah, the one when we were throwing from basically our end zone, that was not great. We basically gifted them a touchdown on 2nd down. No fumbles, no turnovers on downs. Pretty good.
Mhm.
Milligan, Revis, and Fields all got 5 tackles, and Avery, Thurman, and Locombo got 4 tackles. Everyone else under 3. On special teams, Lothar 2 for 3 on field goals, and we finally got our free pizza.
That was wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up. We got a pizza offer for
Every
tomorrow. I can get a free slice of pizza, which I might be in the area of one, so might as well.
better do it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
punter.
I'm so mad I wasn't at that game. I was able to do that. I wonder if they'll do that for Touchdown Pacific too, if it's gonna count, right?
Oh, please. That would be really funny.
Yeah.
Punter, 6 punts. Korzak averaging 45 yards. And the returner, Alfred, 7 return catches.
It's
3
me,
punt
Mario.
3 punt returns, 4 kickoff returns for a total of 129 yards. a bit better than Terry Williams. 24.3 for kickoffs. Pretty good number. 10.7 on punt returns.
Yeah,
He had a
just
decent game.
all around, he had a much better game. Well, I mean, yeah, just feels like a broken record for us to be,
Oh,
uplifting the other guy's kick returner, right? But ours are
it
just stuck in
sucks
the mud, right?
because in this league we should not be focusing mostly on the punt returner, but we are because ours isn't very good.
Yeah,
And we're not trying to down on one guy, but that's the truth.
that's the
So,
truth is he's not good. I'll
Yeah,
quickly say the penalties. BC had 4 for 55 yards. Saskatchewan had 6 for 70. There wasn't really any issues with the team taking too many penalties today. The only thing was the second or the no yards call that was not made. That was
hmm.
very obvious, but BC couldn't challenge it because they had lost one earlier. So
yeah, I lost it
we'll get
because
it. We'll
of
get into that a little later. And then time of possession, BC had 32-21, Saskatchewan 27-39. So BC had a little bit more than half the time, which that half the ball you're more likely to win. So happy with that. I guess now
yeah.
we can move on to our game recap.
Yeah, game recap. So I was doing a lot of the heavy lifting here for just writing down the notes for my benefit, just to remember what happened, because it's harder to remember like a minutia of what happened when you're at the game, right? But
Yeah.
Yes.
I did, yeah. Um, yeah, I guess I will just start out in the first quarter. I mean, BC got the opening kickoff, and then the TSN guy, they were talking about the Riders head coach Corey Mason. I didn't know this, but he comes from Port Moody, which is where I live, right?
There you go.
No, little
And
connection.
yeah, Port Moody connection. I'm like, whoa, what? And I think even I want to say I can't remember what player it was, but I do know there was also a Victoria connection too. So it kind of feels like the Trevor Harris is kind of just controlling behind the scenes, just trying to trying to scare me, right? Because I'm like, I had a coughing fit this morning too. I mean, like, if you didn't watch the previous
It's
episode,
the
I mean, I was
gods.
talking, yeah, I forgot about him in the season preview, right? And then just he decides to make me cough on air, and yeah, and yeah, before the game, I was coughing, right? But I'm fine now. But I mean, he's injured, so I mean, he's yeah. I just made this kind of this whole inside joke about me just being scared of Trevor Harris. Just
It was our episode 0 moment.
There you
episode
go.
0 yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I found out, Corey Mace, the Point Moody native, just like me. Um, so yeah, here Williams takes it to the 40 from the 20 after being tripped up. That was his first play of the game where, yeah, he could have broken a big one, but yeah, Adams on the first play, he avoids a sack, and then he throws to 6. I put 60, but it turned out to be 55. Abel Hart just right out of the gate, right? And I was
Electric.
the
Absolutely
Fantastic win
electric. Great
crowd,
way to
could
ignite
not
the
be
crowd to
better.
start off the game. Yeah.
yeah, the crowd was going nuts for him. I mean, he's a fan favorite of ours now for sure, right?
For
But
sure.
yeah, fortunately, only play the game. um, but yeah, then Adams does unfortunately get sacked after that. There was no the
Yeah, our line
defenders
just
were just completely
completely
open. It
banded
was
him on that one.
yeah. Um, Stanback then catches on second down for 10 yards, but it wasn't enough from the sack. It only forced like a short field goal for a 3-0 Lions lead. Um, but then on the Riders' ensuing drive, the opening running play is shut down for a loss of 3, and then Green intercepts Patterson on second down midfield, and that was an incredible start, right?
Oh yeah.
uh,
Two giant roars from the crowd to start off the game. Like it was nothing better. No way better
Nope.
to start it off.
yeah, I was, we were all starting to feel good about this, and then, but BC does go 2-0. I mean, Adams also, I mean, it was kind of a harbinger of things to come with the interceptions, but Adams did almost get intercepted on an overthrow on the second down to force the punt to the 18, and then, yeah, Saskatchewan does get penalized for a time count violation on the second down on the first set of downs, right? But yeah, and then Patterson gets nearly intercepted on second down to force the punt. Williams also doesn't get much on the return.
As usual.
There was
Nothing wrong
usual.
there.
Yeah. So on this drive, I mean, good things happen here. I mean, short yardage on second down. Fails with Adams handling the ball in the direct snap, but then
The
there was a
third
gutsy
down.
move by the coaching.
I initially thought it was stupid. I thought they're putting Adams out in short yards. I thought this is really dumb.
Yep.
And then he faked it, just like I remember I can't remember if it was last year's West Semi or the year before.
Year
There was a
before.
play, the year before, like there's a play on the third down where they did the exact same thing, and it made a huge gain, and it got to 1st and goal in the
Yeah,
five,
to McInnes, yes.
And
wide
Antonio
open to
Pipkin.
McInnes, and then another pass to McInnes for the touchdown, and we were up 10-0 after the extra point.
Yeah, McInnes was beasting on this drive I put down, and yeah, it was yeah, 10-0, extra point good, and then unfortunately, I mean, Lacombo and the Riders did have like a injury from friendly fire, just trying to cover McInnes, but they kind of just ran into each other to allow him to catch the ball. Right? Man, was unfortunate, but yeah, I got a 10-0 lead, and then on Saskatchewan's ensuing drive, I mean, after Alford goes down to the 48, I mean, he almost broke one for a TD there just to silence the crowd a little bit, but Emelis catches a 51-yard second down pass, and then Willett then punches it in for a 2-yard touchdown to cut the lead 10-7 almost immediately. Yeah, that kind of quieted us a little bit here, but then you know, on BC's last drive of the first quarter, Williams takes it to kick off to the 40, but then there was a penalty for a legal block to bring it back to the 25. Yeah, Adams runs for 15 for the first down on the opening play. That was one of his many times he managed to run for either a first down or a touchdown. Billy Hill had a big catch on second down for 35 yards, and then Micah Johnson then ends the quarter by sacking Adams to end the scoring threat. And then in the second quarter,
No.
and I said,
Yeah,
or so
I had
I
a moment
thought,
here.
and so I thought to end the scoring threat, but then Sean White nailed a 50-yard field goal to extend the lead to 13-7.
That was fabulous, especially in that
Yeah.
stadium. No wind or anything helping him. He still nails it. Very impressive.
I remember the quarter ended. I even messaged in the group chat. I'm like, Vernon's made some great throws, but it's a shame that they have possession now, only up by 3. It was in between the first and second quarter, and we were at the 50-yard line. I'm like, no, they're surely not going to kick it from here. And then I completely forgot he was kicking it. I look up from my phone because, you know, big things were happening on Twitter, and he kicked something in, kicked it in to make it 13-7. So
there you go.
decent lead going into the second quarter.
That was huge in the long run, right? Because yeah,
and then the
I mean,
Lions defense, you know, they kept things
yeah,
going. They forced a 2-and-out right away.
Yeah,
and then Williams made
took
another
over now, but
return.
yeah.
And then how do I say it? Croissant.
Croissant. Like
Sounds
croissant, but
it sounds like a cross between
Yeah, we were all
croissant
thinking
and
that.
en passant from chess.
Oh yeah,
Found the chess player.
So
yeah,
Croissant made his first catch of the game for 9 yards, and then another 30-yard catch from McInnes. But then Vernon Adams threw to Hollins wide open. He was about the 5 yard line, would have scored a touchdown right in my corner of the field, right through his hands. He drops it.
right through his hands. He just, I said it was a whiff, but yeah, it was more like the ball just went right through his hands and just couldn't catch it and went, oh man, that was.
But then
one that he normally catches in his sleep.
Yep. But you know, things didn't turn out too badly. Adams ran and he got he drew an unnecessary roughness call, which led to the Lions getting 30 yards. And then after an incompletion to Barry Hill, they kicked a field goal to go up 16-7 at that point. And then after that, when Saskatchewan took over on the 40, they threw to Emelis for 70 yards.
And then it was here when Nathan Rourke was being interviewed by TSN during the whole drive, right? And we kind of joked that, you know, don't let Nathan and JF meet, or else you know, he's gonna get an earful from him. Just why did you leave us?
Victoria guy.
It's great. I'm happy. It's great.
It's okay. Our quarterback today played really good.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I mean, I did put the note that yeah, Nathan Rourke was getting interviewed at this point, but thankfully, I mean, the BC defense did hold after that scary moment from Emelis's long pass. I mean, Patterson did also try a QB sneak, but only managed a yard just to get stopped at the goal for a field goal to cut the lead 16-10. Yeah, but BC does go 2-and-out after the field goal, and they punt it to the Saskatchewan 31, but mean, there was a couple of, back-to-back 2-and-out moments here. And then it was here after the Saskatchewan punt. Williams got a no yards penalty. I put in parentheses best play for Williams.
It's getting a no yards. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty sad.
That's a running joke.
Yeah, it does make BC go up to the 50 from the 35, but unfortunately, Adams does get sacked on first down when he's running out to the side. It wasn't the O-line's fault, it was just the defense caught up to him and managed to get him. Right.
Yeah.
That was McInnes, however, was a beast secure again. He caught to the 40 to convert from like second and long, and then he was at 109 yards at this point in the first half. He was having another one of those crazy video game stat games, just like the last one, right? Yeah, that was before the 3-minute warning, and then Aberhart does convert on 2nd and 7 for 25. But yeah, Aberhart can't have more than one pass because there was a penalty for a peel back block on the offense, and it was the guy I met in Beyond Tap session, Chris Sluger. He was responsible for that penalty.
That's frustrating.
I
But then
I'm
we
like,
still
can't
got,
believe
we
it.
still got a field goal out of the drive, 44 yards after a catch from Barry Hill. And then I have a quick clock management rant for how this first half ended. So the Lions forced a fairly quick 2-and-out after that. And then the Lions had a first down. I think it was at about midfield after a nice 24-yard catch from McInnes. After that, they were at about midfield and they decided to take a deep shot. But there was 22 seconds to go and the clock was running and they wasted 16 seconds running that play, which meant they only had 6 seconds left and they were stuck at midfield when they could have, called the timeout and had some time to work with, but they just dawdled and wasted 16 seconds. And then with 6 seconds to go, they threw it again and the receiver, I forget who it was, but he completely missed it. And 3 seconds to go, they tried a Hail Mary and Adams was sacked. So a frustrating clock management end to the first half. And maybe in one of our bye-week episodes, I can go on a long clock management rant when we don't have a game to talk about.
Yeah, we have something special planned for because spoiler alert, we are going to still do an episode for our bye week, like for a game. We'll let you know which one it's going to be after next week's game. But yeah, we'll have some fun with that one on our bye week. But
Yeah, that'll be good.
Halftime, I ran up 4 different ramps. I went up to you, Jacob, and the first thing I heard was just 16 seconds wasted. A little bit of a rant from you. My dad was also mad about that, but
You knew
I
what we were
can
going to talk about later.
I can vouch for this frustration.
Yep.
Yeah, and then of course, we do our we have our tradition. I mean, we have a tradition to meet up at section 214 when we're at the game, but we also do a halftime call on Discord, and
That didn't work out this
yeah,
time. I feel
didn't
bad.
really work out much.
I could barely hear
I
you.
was shouting into the microphone.
Yeah.
I think if we
I
do
feel
that
like-
again, I'll bring like a wired pair of headphones. Not even AirPods, just a wired pair of headphones I can plug into my phone.
Yeah,
It
and
worked
then
for me.
one.
Last game I was at just by myself or with my dad, but in halftime I was by myself in the tunnel and I put my AirPods on. I was able to hear both of you and the connection was working, but this time we had to get it on speaker on my phone and it was way too loud in the stadium because the presenter's mic is too loud. So it was unfortunate. We was hoping to talk to you, but didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, I was worried that if we didn't have a substantial discussion in halftime, that it would jinx us. We would lose, right? Like, I'm thinking about all the different kind of ways that superstitions would happen, right? But yeah, thankfully, we'll have plenty of halftime calls and meetups. Well, the one meetup in Uptown Pacific, right? But yeah. So yeah, I guess getting into the third quarter, of course, the Riders then received the kickoff here. They don't get much in return. But Willett did have I call this a Brady Oliveira kind of moment where he was starting to run rough set on the run defense. And I'm going, is this it's going to be Oliveira again? Yeah, he ran to the BC 41 from their own 40, so that's like 20 yards there. Stones had a confusing route. it was thrown incomplete, but I mean Stearns just couldn't locate the ball, right, and it landed right at his feet, right. Could have been a touchdown pass, but that ended up being complete, of course, and then that forced that forced Saskatchewan to attempt a field goal, but it was missed.
Pizza.
Free
We're all
pizza
screaming
and
on our
missed kick,
feet.
yeah. Yeah, 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 so Lotto just missed a field goal to, make BC go have the ball at the 40. At this point, I was having dinner at this point. I mean, I was kind of going I kind of have to prioritize feeding myself over taking notes. I decided to just I was still watching the game for the most part, but I wasn't taking notes,
Yeah,
from what I do,
that's my downside to 4 p.m. starts because you're having a late dinner or
Yeah,
lunch is a
late
bit thrown
dinner,
off a
early
bit.
lunch, or early dinner, late lunch. It kind of all gets messed up. The only
I ended
real
up
there wasn't
having
really
lunch at 1 and then eating dinner at 8.
I did too. There really
yeah,
wasn't a lot of like notable stuff in the third quarter. There were a lot of punts back and forth.
Yeah.
The
there
only things
was
that the only thing
the
the only things I
there was
remember, I think we
also
could talk about the challenge where we were stopped about 3 or 4 yards short of the first down on second down, and Rick Campbell decides to challenge the spot and like move it up a yard or two, which really made no sense because even if he wins it, goes from 3rd and 4 to 3rd and 2, that's still not really close enough to go for it. So even if he had won the challenge, it would have been kind of a waste.
Yeah.
Because you only get maximum 2 per game. So I would save it. Like you want to use a challenge for something that you can win, but also something that has a substantive impact. So like you don't challenge a 5-yard catch if it's still going to be 3rd and 20, right? That's basically what he did here. And in even this case, even worse, we lost the challenge, which came back to bite us because on the very next Rough Rider punt, there was the obvious missed no yards that we mentioned. No yards is reviewable,
yeah.
but we couldn't challenge it because we didn't have one left. It would have won it. And of
That was a
course,
crazy missed call. There was like 1 yard between the returner and Saskatchewan
so obviously Williams didn't go anywhere there, but that wasn't really his fault.
No.
And had but
should
like
have been no yards. So.
that should have been 15 yards right there.
Yeah, but I mean, again, other than that call, I mean, once again, the referees were too detrimental
No, the
to
referees were fine
both
otherwise.
teams. Yeah, it was just that moment where it was just, could have given us one there, but
And had we
yeah,
played it smarter, they would have gotten that call right.
yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, hey, I mean, I call this my udon break because I had udon noodles for dinner, which was
Nice.
really great. Katsuya restaurant,
Sounds
I
good.
recommend that. Yeah, I put in the fourth quarter back to note taking for me. I mean, I did turn away from the game a little bit as Saskatchewan was looking to threaten for a touchdown, but they ended up getting a field goal out of that. So yeah, I got back into note taking as BC forced Saskatchewan to turn it over on downs right on the goal, right?
That's
On
great.
That
goal to
started the
goal.
fourth quarter, which was fabulous. You know, they were down at the 1 yard line and they got the stop, and I yelled out to my dad. I said, "That's not even close." When it was on 3rd and goal at the 1, and we stuffed them, took over on the 1, but then they got the touchdown anyway because Adams was quickly picked off, and then Willette punched it in to make it 22-20.
Yeah,
And
that
then what
was
brutal.
happened?
and
This
then
was awful.
immediately after that, that was when we were worried that is this going to be a mini collapse that goes into a full collapse. This was where you know Lauder does a squib onside kick
He
to
dribbles the
recover the
ball,
ball back, right?
dribbles the
A
ball,
la the
lets
New
it go
Orleans
10
Saints in
yards,
the
and
Super Bowl, right?
yeah, he dribbles the ball forward 10 yards, and as soon as it goes 10 yards, he jumps on it. Perfectly legal play. I've only seen it once, another time many years ago. Hamilton did it to the Lions. That case, it worked. It worked here. And that was first thing at that point I thought, oh my goodness, here we go again. We're going to lose. But it was
Yeah,
not to be.
yeah. I mean, yeah, just yeah, it was one of those again, it was another unstable, kind of shaky moment where we thought the lead was going to go back to Saskatchewan because again, Saskatchewan, first few games have been the first few wins have been by the comeback, right? So we were just expecting some kind of an effort like this, but thankfully, Patterson does get sacked on first down by Tawai, and then they fumbled it to BC thanks to Archibald. Coming from behind and just knocking the ball out of his hands, recovering it. I put this game is off the wall crazy. It's suddenly.
I barely
Um,
celebrated that fumble. I was just relieved. Like the whole section was standing up and I was sitting down and I was just like, because all the things that were happening before us, it felt like we were collapsing. And then, a weight came off my shoulders. And
just a little bit, right?
yeah,
I mean, it helps that Holland's also redeemed himself from the missed catch for having a
oh
big
yeah,
catch at a 14,
we went
right?
crazy.
On
Now I
second
said to
down.
my dad, that's redemption.
There you go.
Yep. Then McInnes is back in huddle because he did get a little injured earlier in the fourth quarter, but he's back in the huddle. And then Adams on I think it was second down. He does run it like right into the end zone, and then Mackey also had a huge a block just to help Adams fail him into the end zone. Like,
Yeah,
that was great.
was great.
Yeah, for a 16-yard touchdown run to extend the lead to 29-20.
But then things weren't over yet. 29-20 is only 2 scores. And then Alfred, he took the next kickoff up to the right at 36. And then Wallet, that was his big hurdle play where he
hurdle,
jumped over a
yep.
bunch of linebackers dangerously for 15 yards. And then the Riders had to punt after that. And then then the Lions took the ball over. McInnes made a catch for 20 yards on second down. Then another catch for 18 yards.
I was gonna say, well, before you go further, the
Yeah.
punter for Saskatchewan, he did kind
Yeah.
of hesitate. I did see him hesitate a little bit. I thought, oh, fake. Oh, good God. Okay, punted it away. There was a brief split second there. We're going, oh, they're gonna try it again, and no. Yeah. Okay, keep going.
And then after that, there was at the 3-minute warning, there was an illegal contact penalty on the Riders, and Hollins made another catch, but he immediately was checked in and slammed his head
Yeah.
on the ground.
Yeah, this is where the war of attrition kind of
Yeah.
title really comes into play here, where it just started. Both Hollins and McInnes were getting just injured, and it's making us really nervous.
Which
I mean,
they need to get he'll be being checked for concussions for sure.
yeah,
But on the drive, we a little bit later we were stopped after 2 running plays, kicked a field goal, make it 32-20. And then the Riders went 3 and out, so they turned the ball over on downs, and the Lions took over with no time left. And something that I actually liked, they kicked a field goal with no time left to win 35-20 instead of 32-20. And the reason I liked that was because we only play the Riders twice this year. So that means if the team split the 2 games 1-1, the season series will come down to the point differential in those 2 games. So I
yes,
really liked going for the extra points because even if it's blocked and returned for a touchdown, they still win. But so
yeah,
I really liked that.
yeah. I was gonna say that. I mean, to outside viewers, to people who are used to watching the NFL and they see this, think, "Oh, wait, isn't that just showboating?" But no, in the NFL, I think the tiebreaker, usually the point differential is a lot lower on the tiebreaker. But
Well, the
for the
tiebreaker in
CFL,
this case, the head-to-head record is the tiebreaker, but
yeah,
because they only play each other twice, the tiebreaker for head-to-head record, if the head-to-head record is tied, is point differential.
then the point
So,
differential comes into effect.
so
Yes,
like
and
because we won this game
yeah,
by 15, if Saskatchewan wins the next game by 14, that decision to kick that field goal will give the Lions the season series.
I love this bit.
the season, yeah. If it comes down to hosting, the Western Conference final, perhaps. I mean, it'll
It's theoretically possible that decision,
theoretically,
garbage
yeah.
time field goal, could decide first in the West. It probably won't, but it theoretically could.
Theoretically could. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next Riders game. But yeah, that yeah. I mean, what appears to be showboating, it was really more of a strategic future kind of
Basically, yeah, you only have
thing.
you only have 2 hours of game time against the Rough Riders. Might as well get as many points out of it as you can.
Yeah, I mean that it's, and then at the end I put the line. Well, I mean, Sean White goes 7 for 7 for this. I mean, just to really cap out an amazing streak again. But yeah, the Lions win a massive 35-20 game to go to 5-1 and top spots in the West and the CFL.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, that's
Just before we
that
head,
whole game. I mean, again, that whole game, I mean, even though we led the whole time, I mean, once that fourth quarter happened and, we had those long drives, I mean, they ended up in field goals, but, yeah, it was, still long drives that will kill the clock and just stop any form of a comeback happening, like, as
Yeah.
Saskatchewan's used to do, but, yeah, 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 it was a fantastic game for me to watch at home, and I mean, I imagine it was for you guys in person.
Absolutely.
It's great. Only complaint, it was too hot in the stadium, but it was a
My only
great game.
complaint, no fountain pop.
Yeah,
Awesome
yeah, so
experience.
There you go.
yeah, so yeah, that'll be that's it for the game recap. I mean, I guess we'll just and then to end it off, we'll just quickly go over the past two games in the week. So I mean, Toronto beat Montreal. Montreal finally lost a game, just like
What a
Saskatchewan
shock.
did. So yeah, just like Saskatchewan did. So again, two undefeated teams like losing on the same week, right?
No.
There's no more undefeated teams left.
My dad has said this every week, but we should be an undefeated team. We shouldn't have lost that game to Toronto.
Toronto,
So
yeah,
I wish we were one of those undefeated teams and we wouldn't have broken it yet.
But
5 straight wins.
5 straight wins, 5-1, not complaining.
but yeah. I mean, and speaking of, I mean, Toronto. I mean, yeah, Toronto continues to make their case and to keep being an elite kind of in
For
the
sure.
elite echelon of the CFL team. But now, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you're beating Montreal this handily, 37-18,
You're
you've
doing
proven
well.
it, right? Yeah, just Montreal just kind of had an off game, really. I mean, from what I saw, I mean, I just didn't think Montreal had that comeback in them,
They were
unlike
due for a
against Calgary,
stinker.
right? Yeah. Uh,
Facts.
but this game wasn't a stinker. Winnipeg, I mean, they got their second win in a row, which I don't like. We don't like.
Plain
But
and
I mean,
simple.
they had a shootout against Calgary. They won 41-37. Can you imagine the amount of sweat that I would have
Oh
had
man.
just in a game like that? I would have been just absolutely drenched.
I only watched the first quarter and it was already high scoring at that point. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, all we can really say about that result is that, yeah, I mean, Winnipeg's back to 2-5 now. I mean, again, they still have a bit of an uphill climb. I mean, they do have tough opponents coming up for them three straight times, right? And they end off with us, I think. I think so, yeah. Before their bye week, but yeah,
Next
they still
games.
have yeah, but yeah, the next game, I mean, there's one that's going to be finishing off the week tomorrow. That's Ottawa and Edmonton, and I put home and home because Ottawa and Edmonton will play each other two straight times. So tomorrow and I believe Sun next Saturday, I think
Next Friday.
next Friday. Okay,
2
yeah.
games
So
next Friday. Nice.
yeah, so Ottawa and Edmonton are both going to be playing each other just with short rest, but yeah,
Means no
that'll
Thursday
be
night
No
football, but
disadvantages.
Friday night football doubleheader, never going to complain about that.
Oh, I love the
oh
second game. It'll be a
yes,
big one.
Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. I mean, and it's here. We're begrudgingly, and we're gonna have to root for Winnipeg in this one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because we need to put the gap between us and Saskatchewan as much as possible, right? But we're kind of needing Winnipeg to just keep on keeping on and win their third straight. But again, it's the fear that they can keep rising, right? But
Wouldn't
yeah,
wouldn't be too bad if Winnipeg lost though. We always love to see them lose, but it
no,
is it is
no, that's a
conflicting.
good, yeah, that's a good consolation prize if they lose. But uh, yeah, and then yeah, Saturday, Toronto at Hamilton. I think Toronto. Oh yeah, I think Ottawa should be able to beat Edmonton at least once. I'm saying I don't think they're going to beat them tomorrow, but I do think in the rematch, Ottawa should be able to beat them at home. Uh, yeah, I think again we're hoping Winnipeg wins that one, but I do get the feeling Saskatchewan might put the hammer down
The
on
hammer.
Winnipeg. uh, and speaking of hammer, I do. I do think Hamilton can. I mean, they might be able to beat Toronto. I mean, it could be like a every dog out of day kind of game. we've seen that happen before.
Still have two
Uh,
winless teams in the CFL, and one of the winless teams will be playing Ottawa 2 weeks in a row. And one of them will be playing the Toronto Argonauts. So we'll see
Toronto
how that
Argonauts,
stands
yeah.
by the end of next week.
There you go.
Yeah, 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 and then for next week, it's gonna end off with our game. BC will be on the road against Calgary. So for that game, um, again, we've gone through some pretty, a lot of these results were tight. But the last couple of games there has been sizable point differential, right? And that's key, right? I think that'll help with you know, we will be on the road. I am a lot more nervous for road games than I am with home games, but I do have confidence that, just depending on the injury status of receivers, I do hope Keon Hatcher comes back at some point. Either
Oh yeah,
next week or probably after the bye week. Right,
it would be
he should be
huge to see
back
him
soon.
back. Talk about how good our wide receiver core has been so far. He'll be a huge addition to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We'll definitely
even
have him
if
back before the playoffs, though.
yes, even if Hollins or McKinnis decides to take an off day, I do think we still have the offensive talent enough to have a chance of beating Calgary decently. Right?
Yeah.
It could be a tight game, but again, Calgary's defense is kind of just shredded by Winnipeg losing for 41 points. They might toughen it up a little bit for this
I can
one.
imagine that they will. They
Side
Yeah.
note,
can't give a whole lot worse than giving up 41 points, let's be honest.
Yeah,
I just wanted
I'm wearing the head coach's number, right? But Dickinson, he's mad about that for sure.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
say I hate Calgary's home uniforms, those candy cane red
Yeah,
soled
no, I
ones.
don't like
So I
them.
hope we beat their asses, just
I hope they
naturally.
yeah.
will.
I kind of miss the old red, well, like the Reebok red jerseys. That
Yeah,
I like that more than the candy cane look. But
I agree with you.
I agree.
yeah. It's weird how well, the helmets. They still have the font from the old jerseys, but it's a weird mismatch. It doesn't fit right with me. Uh, yeah.
I just wanted
So
to add one
yeah.
more thing because we're going to end off the podcast really shortly. So
Mhm.
you guys said that Keon Hatcher is coming back pretty soon. I didn't hear any word on that, but that would be huge. He was arguably better than our current wide receivers. So to have a guy like that slot in ahead of Hollins and McKinnis, that would just be great. And if
Yeah.
Hatcher's
I
close,
imagine
then that means TJ Lee's probably close as well.
he'll probably replace Poisson because Poisson's probably a depth receiver, right? But he was in for Gatoya. Again, it's just a shuffling of quality wide receivers, right? And we're just spoiled. We're just wide receiver merchants here, just staring down at the rest of the league, going, "You don't have a 200-yard receiver yet, bums."
They grow on
Uh,
trees.
yeah. Call that cocky from me, but hey, I'm I'm just enjoying the ride as it is. Like this is just an unprecedented time to be a BC Lions fan for us older fans. I am to be 5-1 at this point in the season now, and it's yeah.
It's a good
I hope we just hope we can get to 6-1 by Sunday, right?
Would be a
That'd be
treat.
great. Yeah. That's if you have any final thoughts, we can end it off.
I think I'm pretty good. I
It's
can
good
just
to
go
see you
through.
today, Jacob.
Absolutely good to see you, Hammer.
We had a
That
great
was
time
it.
in the game today.
I
So,
enjoyed it a lot. Lots of fun.
oh yeah.
All
And we'll
right.
see you both at Touchdown Pacific next month. That'll be the next time I
Absolutely.
see
That's
you,
gonna be
Jacob. Next
that's
time
gonna
I
be a
see
lot
you,
of fun.
Ascent.
Looking forward to that.
We'll get
And
planning.
You're the only time. So yeah, that's
that's it.
we'll go through our socials
I'll
before
do
we
that before we go. You can find us at I always spell out the emails. People can get it SECTIONTWOFOURTEEN@gmail.com. We are on Twitter and Instagram at Section214pod and on YouTube at Section214 BC Lions Podcast.
Okay, and and again, we'll end off with again thanking the BC Lions for subscribing to us. That's like hey, I'm Mo Doman. If you're the guy who's watching, just watching the videos a little bit, I mean, like, hey, we'll wave hi to you. Just so yeah, that's yeah,
That's good.
we'll see you next Sunday. Oh,
Next Sunday.
yeah, yeah, Sunday we should be able to do, record an episode immediately after game. I think it's yeah, same time. So yeah, we'll see you on probably Monday. So next Monday.
See you all
So
then.
yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.